Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm making an updated ranking of all of the unique armor in Minecraft dungeons from worst to best. This list will be including the new armor that came with the Jungle Awakens DLC, and there are also a lot of changes to the list in general because of two things. First of all, alongside the Jungle Awakens DLC came an update, and that update changed around a lot of things including armor and also other items that ended up affecting armor because of how the new meta currently is. And also, I've had much more experience with the game since the first ranking that I made came out, and now I'm confident that I can create a much better, much more accurate list. Anyways, getting into it, there are 16 total unique armors, and I'm gonna go through them all starting from the worst. Coming in at number 16, we have Frostbite. This armor basically gives you the snowball enchantment, which summons a snowy companion that will stun enemies every certain amount of time for a second. And then the other two traits on this armor are bonus 50% soul gathered and bonus 30% ranged damage. And the reason why this armor is last is not because it's bad, it just isn't as great as the other pieces of armor are on this list. So just keep that in mind. Now, with that being said, let me explain a bit more as to why I put this in last place. First of all, yes, we do have the Snowy Companion enchantment, which is pretty good and useful, and it will help you stay alive for longer and kill enemies easier. You also have the bonus 50% souls gathered, which means this is a soul piece of armor. It will work in a soul build. And we also have the 30% bonus to range damage, and as we know, percentage damage increases are amazing. They can end up increasing your damage by an insane amount, especially if you stack them with some other effects. Now, the issue that I run into here is the fact that this piece of gear is for ranged weapons. If you notice, it gives you ranged weapon damage, not melee weapon damage. And as I've talked about a lot, and I still stand by this now, archer builds or bow builds just don't really work. You run out of arrows way too easily, and that just makes these builds so inconsistent. On top of that, there used to be a build based on the Torment Quiver artifact that would deal pretty good damage, and during that time, this piece of armor was a great piece for that build. But recently, the Torment Quiver artifact got nerfed where its cooldown was increased, and because of that change that came out recently, this armor is just not nearly as useful as it was before. Again, it's still pretty good. You can put soul speed on it because it's a soul piece of armor, and if you are using a ranged weapon most of the time, this will give you a great damage boost, and then you also have the stunning pet. But in general, it's just that bow builds are not very viable as of right now in this current meta, and unless that sees changes, this armor is not going to see much use really. Next up, we have the Archer's armor, which gives you a 15% bonus move speed aura, plus 10 arrows per bundle, and bonus 30% ranged damage. All of these traits are pretty good. The move speed aura just lets you clear dungeons a little bit faster, and that ends up adding up in the long run. Then you have the bonus 10 arrows per bundle, which means that every time an arrow bundle drops, you get 10 more arrows than you normally would. And this can help slightly with the issue of not being able to sustain your arrows. And then you have the 30% range damage increase, which is huge. I think the Archer's armor edges out the Frostbite armor because it has the movement speed increase instead of the Snowy Companion enchantment, which I think is way more useful in the long run, especially since you're fighting enemies from a range, so the stun isn't as useful as it would be with a melee weapon. And then you do have the bonus arrows per bundle, which could be great for a bow build because of the issues that we run into with arrow sustainability. This armor is designed for melee ranged use, but the movement speed that's on it could be pretty beneficial for just a normal build. I mean, it's not optimal, but if you don't have any other choices, then the movement speed could help you clear dungeons just a little bit faster. Hopefully we're gonna see some changes made to bows in the future, maybe with the Creeping Winter update. That would be awesome. That would really change up the meta. it would be great to see more bow builds in play. Next up, we've got the new armor that came out with the Jungle Awakens DLC, the unique version of the normal Ocelot armor, the Shadow Walker. This gives you brief invulnerability when rolling, a 50% faster roll, and 35% damage reduction. The brief invulnerability is not very useful. I mean, I don't know what they were going for with that. Hey, maybe some of you have found good use for it, but personally, I have not found a way to make that very useful. Same with the 50% faster roll. I mean, thing is that whenever you roll, your run speed gets slowed down for a short period of time. So if you just keep rolling to use this perk, you'll also be losing speed from your run at the same time. So that doesn't really work out too well. The only thing that's really good on this armor is the 35% damage reduction. That 35% damage reduction is what saves this armor from being in last place. Damage reduction is actually really useful, and it can end up saving you a lot of time. Alright, next up we have the Cave Crawler armor, which gives you 50% bonus artifact damage, 20% weapon damage boost aura, and it gives you a pet bat. Now, I don't really see much use for the artifact damage boost on this piece of armor, because if you want artifact damage, you are using a soul build most likely, since that is what uses a lot of artifact damage. And for that, you might as well just use the Soul Dancer robe. So with that perk practically disregarded, we just have the bonus 20% weapon damage boost aura left and the pet bat. The weapon damage boost aura is nice because it applies to both your melee and ranged weapon, meaning that you can benefit from this perk a lot. And then you also have the pet bat, which isn't a phenomenal pet, but it does give you some damage and it can increase your overall combat effectiveness. This armor is definitely not optimal, but it is alright. Next up, we've got the Fox armor, which gives you a 30% chance to negate hits, a 20% weapon damage boost aura, and it makes it so that health potions heal nearby allies. The 30% chance to negate hits is actually pretty massive. I mean, 30% of the time you're not going to be taking damage, so it actually saves you from a lot of damage and makes it much easier to survive. The weapon damage boost aura is great as well. It increases the damage of both of your weapon types, and it also helps out nearby allies if you're playing in a group. And the final perk is not very useful. It just makes it so that whenever you use a health potion, you will also heal everybody around you, but that is not going to see too much use even if you are in a group, because it's not really needed, and the health potion has a pretty big cooldown on it, so you can't be using this often. I mean, it's alright. It gives you some negation to hits, and it also gives you some increased damage, so it gives you both, and that can definitely help you out. Next up, we have the Soul Dancer robe, which is interesting. It's a really interesting piece of armor. It gives you a 30% chance to negate hits, which is its unique perk, plus 100% souls gathered, and bonus 30% artifact damage. This is what you want if you plan on creating a caster soul build. It fits all the boxes, and it's definitely the best armor for this type of build by far. The Soulcaster build isn't amazing, but the cooldown perk and the chance to negate hits that is on this armor is extremely useful and utilizable. You can stack this cooldown perk with 2 cooldown enchantments, and then you can speed run. And the chance to negate hits gives you a lot of extra survivability. So that's what gives it a boost on the standings. Next up, we've got the Hero's armor, which has a lot of traits. It makes it so that health potions heal nearby allies, gives you 35% damage reduction, makes mobs target you more, and gives you a 40% decrease to your potion cooldown. This is an armor for tanks, if you're in a group especially, because it has the combo of reducing your potion cooldown and then also making it so that it heals nearby allies, which means that not only can you heal allies with this a lot, but you can also put some enchantments on this, like Potion Barrier, and that will make you very tanky after you use your healing potion as well as during it. Then you have the 35% damage reduction, which is amazing, and then you make it so that mobs target you more, which is extremely useful in groups because this will ensure that all of the mobs are attacking you instead of your group members, and they can focus on damage. This is a fun piece of armor that has great use for groups, and also for individual use as well because of the utilization you can put into the cooldown on your potion being reduced. Solid piece of armor, what can I say? The Highland armor is next, which makes it so that you gain speed after dodge. What that really means is that every time you roll, you're gonna gain speed. At first I thought that this meant you actually have to dodge an attack to make this trigger, but no, every single time you roll, you will gain extra speed. Also, this has 35% damage reduction and bonus 30% melee damage. The speed after dodge perk isn't really that great, but the damage reduction and melee damage is awesome. You have the most effective defensive trait on your gear, and you also have the most effective offensive trait on your gear. It's pretty good. And also, if you get the Highland axe, you can combo it with this armor and that'll look pretty awesome. I'm pretty sure that the Highland set and the Frost set are the only two sets in the game. I wish they made more sets. It just feels complete when you have a full set of gear that matches together. Next we have Stalwart armor, which looks kind of boring, but it is awesome. It makes it so that potion uses boost your defense, which is the potion barrier enchantment, gives you 35% damage reduction, and gives you 30% chance to negate hits as well, and then it also gives you a 100% longer roll cooldown. The longer roll cooldown is not gonna affect you much because we barely roll anyways, and really all you're gonna do is benefit from the crazy amount of survivability that this piece of armor gives you. It is amazing if you want to survive mobs, and if you're having any trouble with staying alive, this is gonna help you. Although it doesn't boost your damage necessarily, it could end up help you clearing dungeons much quicker just because you're able to stay in fights for longer. Awesome piece of gear, even though it looks slightly boring. I love it. Next up is the Full Metal Armor, which gives you a 30% melee damage increase, a 30% chance to negate hits, and a 35% damage reduction increase, as well as a 100% boost to your roll cooldown. Again, roll cooldown does not matter much. What we're looking at here is the combination of amazing defense and melee damage that this armor offers. This slightly beats out the Stalwart armor because instead of that potion use boost defense perk, you get the 30% melee damage. I mean, the name does not undersell this armor. It is full metal armor. You cannot break through this thing. Next up we have the Titan Shroud, which gives you a 20% weapon damage boost aura, bonus 50% soul gathered, and a bonus 35% damage reduction. And it also has soul gathering, meaning that it is a soul piece of gear, so you can get soul speed on this armor, and that increases your speed so consistently and is an amazing enchantment to have. Not only are the traits on this armor good, but I love the name and the look on it. I like the color teal. Really nice to see a piece of gear with that color on it, and the name is just awesome. Titan. I don't know, that just sounds so cool to me. I don't know if it's only me, is it you all as well? Come on, please. Next up we have the Splendid Robe, which gives you a 50% bonus to your artifact damage, a 25% decrease to your artifact cooldown, and 30% bonus melee damage. Before the recent update, this armor was just overpowered. It was amazing because it could handle both killing any mob that it would see and also at the same time speedrunning. Don't really pay attention to the artifact damage increase on this, that doesn't matter. It's the artifact cooldown that is insane because this lets you just activate your abilities so much faster, and when you combo this with two cooldown enchantments, you can just keep up your Boots of Swiftness and Ghost Cloak permanently. This armor is amazing for speedrunning. Don't pay attention to the 50% bonus artifact damage, that's not really useful, but rather the artifact cooldown that's on this, because this comboed with two cooldown enchantments makes it so that you can just keep on using your Boots of Swiftness, Ghost Cloak, and Deathcat Mushroom and just run right through mobs at a ludicrous speed. And then you also have the 30% bonus melee damage, which makes it so that if you run into a boss, you can just quickly hammer them down with no issues, and if you run into mobs sometimes, you can easily defeat them as well. I'm not exactly done talking about the Splendid Robe, but before I finish off talking about it, let me quickly talk about what's next on the list, which is the Ember Robe. The Ember Robe gives you the unique trait which makes it burn nearby enemies, which is just the burning enchantment. Doesn't do that much damage at all really, but it looks cool. The main thing that we're looking at, I mean really the only thing is the 25% reduced artifact cooldown and also the bonus 15% movement speed aura. As I explained with the artifact cooldown on the Splendid Robe, this lets us use our artifacts repeatedly and lets us speedrun easily. And that, comboed with the movement speed that's on this armor, makes you really, really fast. This slightly edges out the Splendid Robe because if you're looking for a speed set, you might as well go full out with speed and just run through dungeons as fast as Sonic, because the Splendid Robe is just slightly slower than the Ember Robe, even though you would do more damage with it equipped. Now, what I want to say about both of these armors is they really used to be in the meta before the Jungle Awakens DLC update hit. They were crazy when you would combo them with the Fighter's Bindings and then put the Radiance enchantment on the Fighter's Bindings, because you would have no issues surviving. The Fighter's Bindings were just crazy with Radiance, but then the healing from Radiance got nerfed by 50%, which has just made it so that you can't really speedrun and be able to kill any mobs with absolutely no problem at the same time. You have to pick one, because either you're killing mobs easily or you're speedrunning, and sometimes if you have to fight a big pack of mobs that are really strong, you might end up dying. However, if your goal is to speedrun, these pieces of armor are still the best for this purpose in the game, so do not count these out. They are amazing, and they can still see a lot of use in this current meta as well. You don't even need the unique variants of these, you can just use the basic variants, so it is pretty easy to get these armor types. Next up, we've got the Spider Armor, which gives you 6% bonus lifesteal aura and a bonus 25% to your melee attack speed. The attack speed buff is very noticeable and very useful as well. It increases your DPS by a lot. And the lifesteal aura perk was recently buffed from 3% to 6%, so this does a lot of healing and can help sustain you a lot, especially if you have a fast, hard-hitting weapon. Also keep in mind that lifesteal aura affects all types of damage, so even if you're doing artifact damage, you will be healing from that. If you're doing range damage, you're gonna heal from that, and if you do melee damage, you're gonna heal from that. And I did make a video earlier talking about lifesteal aura. It was titled The New Best Healing Source in Minecraft Dungeons, I think, so if you want to learn more about the changes that were made, you can. But basically, it's just an amazing perk now, and it is a great survivability tool. And that does make it so that it does not hit that number 1 or number 2 spot on the list. But even without that, if you combo this with the proper build, the Spider Armor performs very well. Next up, we have an oldie but a goodie, a piece of armor that I'm sure all of us know, the Renegade Armor. This gives you a 25% bonus to your melee attack speed, a 35% bonus to your damage reduction, and gives you a 20% weapon damage boost aura. This was at the number 1 spot on the previous list that I made, but it is no longer the number 1 spot. However, it is incredible. It is a very strong piece of armor. It gives you the highest damage increase out of all of the armors in the game, because it gives you the bonus to your melee attack speed and a bonus to your weapon damage. So this is very effective, and on top of that, it also gives you damage reduction. All 3 perks on this armor are so useful and can see use with pretty much any build. This has such great perks, and it just increases your overall DPS by an incredible amount. Every time I see this armor, I just think about how incredible it is because of how good all 3 perks on it are. And at number 1, the Wither Armor. The Wither Armor gives you a 35% damage reduction boost, 50% Souls Gather boost, and 6% Lifesteal Aura. This armor is so good right now. It is the meta because of the changes that were made with the recent update. It can utilize soul enchantments, so it can use soul speed, and you can also use this in a soul build. And then on top of the healing from Anima Conduit, you have Lifesteal Aura, which, as I said previously, was buffed and is now an amazing source of healing. In fact, I would say the best source of healing in the game. Although this may not increase your damage, right now it is hard to find things that are able to sustain you very easily. and this does just that. In fact, I made a build guide on how you can utilize this armor to its highest potential. That was called the Soul Stealer build, so if you want to watch that and learn about that build, you can. I go over all the items you need and how you can utilize this build and everything. Before the update, this was not the best armor in the game. It was okay, it was pretty good, but now with everything that was changed, it is just incredible and a must use. I really recommend that you try this out. Try out the build that I made a guide on. It is so incredible. You're able to run through every dungeon, defeating every mob, having no issues. I mean, what else is there to say about it? It's just an amazing piece of armor. I really recommend that you use it. Anyways, that was it for my updated list ranking all of the unique armor in Minecraft Dungeons from worst all the way to best. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree with me? And also, tell me what you think about the Shadow Walker armor. Is it obtainable? Because I have literally not seen anybody that I know get it, and I have not been able to get it myself. Anyways, other than that, leave a like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out, everybody.
You